We have reached a mathematical breaking point in the modern enterprise. We possess virtually infinite computational power and data storage, yet our capacity to make decisions is bottlenecked by a strictly finite resource: human cognition. Artificial intelligence was supposed to solve this overload. Instead, it generates correlations, summaries, and predictions at such a scale that the gap between machine output and human comprehension is actually widening. Every legal, regulatory, and business decision ultimately requires a human to interpret facts and exercise judgment. No matter how many millions of documents an AI analyzes per second, the organization can only move as fast as a human can process the results. Look at this environment. This is the failure state of corporate investigations, the understanding gap. AI retrieves thousands of isolated files, but investigators spend months piecing them together. This chaos is the direct result of feeding raw data into analysis engines without establishing context. For 20 years, the industry focused on how to store data and how to search it. Those problems are solved. When you push raw, ungoverned data directly into artificial intelligence, the machine lacks the structural logic to present a coherent narrative. It simply produces cognitive overload. Managing enterprise data is no longer about raw computing power. It is a structural engineering challenge focused entirely on scaling human cognition. To engineer a solution, we have to measure the constraint. That measurement is human understanding bandwidth, or HUB. This gauge models the precise constraint. Human understanding bandwidth is the maximum rate at which humans can accurately comprehend complex digital truth in order to make a decision. The first law of this metric is absolute. If an organization fails to expand this bandwidth, it will inevitably drown in its own data. Xantaz has spent the last 2 decades building the infrastructure to prevent that exact scenario. We started by building journal archives and early e-discovery systems to manage the explosion of enterprise data, leading directly to today's architecture, LegalHub 3.0. It acts as an expansion valve for human bandwidth, clearing the cognitive bottleneck. It works by intercepting chaotic information, transforming it into legally admissible, AI-ready trusted data before it reaches human review. Deploying this architecture across the global enterprise landscape requires an equally efficient mechanism for distribution, a frictionless business-to-business network. LegalHub 3.0 provides the mathematically sound bridge between raw machine intelligence and actionable human truth. Microsoft builds the world's most powerful enterprise environments, housing the vast majority of corporate knowledge across Microsoft 365, SharePoint, and Copilot. But Microsoft leaves a critical gap by design. They do not automatically cure the problem of untrusted, unstructured data at the scale required for strict legal compliance. If you point Copilot directly at raw, ungoverned file shares, it absorbs every obsolete document and trivial email, leading directly to AI hallucinations and compliance failures. Look at modern enterprise architecture. This base layer is the Microsoft ecosystem, filled with chaotic communications. LegalHub 3.0 sits directly on top. It acts as a companion processor, converting raw data into structured intelligence. It achieves this through 2 specific mechanisms. First, it establishes trust by enforcing immutable preservation and complete chain of custody tracking. Second, the trusted data refinery builds structural context by scanning data in place, mapping relationships, ownership, and metadata. This organization turns a massive, meaningless pile of isolated files into a cohesive chronological narrative that investigators can immediately interpret. By refining the data first, LegalHub 3.0 cures the exact data governance problem that otherwise prevents Microsoft Copilot from operating safely in legal environments. The final architectural layer where humans actually interface with the refined data is the Trusted Data Portal. The portal operates as a completely isolated, enterprise-grade environment specifically designed to protect attorney-client privilege. Recent legal precedents, like the Heppner ruling, demonstrate that using public, consumer-grade AI tools can actively waive legal protections because they lack a reasonable expectation of confidentiality. To neutralize this risk, the portal relies on a strict security mechanism known as the Model Context Protocol, or MCP. The MCP acts as a real-time governance gate, evaluating user identity to deflect unauthorized AI models while granting access to verified users. To preserve legal work product, AI insights are held in a workspace until a human reviews and approves them. Every approved action generates an immutable chain of custody, ensuring any AI output can be instantly traced back to its exact source document and version. This traceability replaces the untestable black box of public AI with a fully explainable, defensible audit trail. The Trusted Data Portal takes AI, which is typically a massive liability in a legal setting, and transforms it into a defensible asset, strictly directed by human counsel. When these three layers, the Microsoft Foundation, the Legal Hub Companion, and the Trusted Data Portal operate together, the organization's capacity to process information scales mathematically. We can measure this transformation using the Hub Maturity Model, which tracks an enterprise's ability to convert raw data into human understanding. Organizations start at level 1, defined by data chaos. They move up through basic collection and into the cognitive overload of level 3 AI analysis, ultimately striving for level 5, true human understanding platforms. Deploying Legal Hub 3.0 immediately elevates an enterprise to this level 5 maturity, where high-speed AI analysis is matched by high-speed human comprehension. But engineering this architecture is only half the equation. Delivering it to the global enterprise market requires an elite distribution network. That distribution engine is the UGA Marketplace. The Marketplace is a business-to-business collaboration engine that connects software providers directly with enterprise representatives. It maximizes global growth by facilitating trusted introductions, and it does this with zero fees for its members. Representatives within this network serve a vital function. They identify qualified enterprise accounts worldwide and introduce them to the Legal Hub 3.0 architecture. By leveraging the UGA Marketplace, representatives architect the foundational infrastructure for enterprise AI and expand human understanding bandwidth on a global scale.